Welcome back to EyeRich History. This video takes you on a journey back in time to a place where history, culture, and resistance collided. The Black Hills. This land, sacred to the Sioux and Cheyenne tribes, would become the stage for one of the most pivotal clashes in American history, the Battle of Little Bighorn. But this isn't just a battle story. It's a history of broken promises, sacred land, and a fight for survival that still resonates today. If you're ready to enjoy truths in history, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you never miss out on these powerful histories. Now, let's begin. The Black Hills, known as Paha Sapa to the Lakota Sioux, are much more than just a range of hills. To the Sioux, the Cheyenne, and other Plains tribes, these hills are sacred ground. The Black Hills feature prominently in Sioux creation stories. They are the heart of their spiritual world, a place where their ancestors and gods reside. The hills were a source of life, sustenance, and cultural identity. But more than that, these lands represented a promise, one that was made to the Sioux in the 1868 Treaty of Fort Laramie. The U.S. government acknowledged these lands as belonging to the Sioux, for as long as the grass shall grow and the rivers shall run. However, this promise was short-lived. With the discovery of gold in the Black Hills in 1874 by Custer's expedition, the U.S. government began to feel the pressure. Prospectors flooded into the region, violating the sacred treaty. What was promised to be Sioux land was now being taken over by miners and settlers hungry for gold. The Sioux and Cheyenne saw this encroachment as not just a violation of land, but an attack on their very identity and survival. When Custer's men reported gold in the Black Hills, the U.S. government faced a dilemma. Honor the treaty or support the growing demand from settlers to open the land for mining. It didn't take long for them to break their promise. By 1875, the government tried to purchase the Black Hills from the Sioux, offering a fraction of its worth. The offer was not only insulting, but also unacceptable to the tribes. For the Sioux and Cheyenne, the Black Hills were not for sale. As tensions escalated, Native Americans were increasingly pressured to move onto reservations, but many resisted. Tribal leaders like Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse refused to be confined to reservation life and continued to lead their people in defiance of U.S. orders. By 1876, tensions had reached a boiling point. Sitting Bull, a spiritual leader and fierce defender of his people, had a vision during the Sundance ceremony of soldiers falling from the sky, interpreted as a prophecy of victory against the U.S. Army. Inspired by this vision, Sitting Bull and Crazy Horse united various Sioux, Cheyenne, and Arapaho bands, creating one of the largest Native American forces ever assembled. Meanwhile, General George Armstrong Custer and the 7th Cavalry were dispatched to force the Native Americans back onto the reservations. Custer's orders were clear: find the native camp, and if necessary, use force to return them to reservation lands. However, Custer severely underestimated the strength and unity of the native forces he was about to face. As Custer advanced, he believed he was facing only a small group of warriors. He had no idea that thousands of native fighters, many of whom had grown up hunting and fighting on these plains, were waiting for him. On June 25, 1876, Custer and his 7th Cavalry split into several smaller units, intending to surround what he believed was a much smaller enemy force. His first tactical error. The battle began with an attack on the native village, but it quickly became clear that Custer had misjudged the situation. Thousands of native warriors, led by Crazy Horse and Gall, overwhelmed the 7th Cavalry. Custer's men, unprepared and vastly outnumbered, were swiftly outflanked and outmaneuvered. As the battle raged, Custer's unit found itself isolated on a ridge, now famously known as Custer's Last Stand. Surrounded, Custer and his men fought desperately, but it was a losing battle from the start. Native warriors, many with first-hand knowledge of military strategy and a deep understanding of the land, pressed their advantage. Within hours, Custer and his entire detachment were wiped out. The battle was over, but the victory for the Native Americans would be short-lived. The shockwaves of Custer's defeat were felt across the nation. White America was stunned by the loss of an entire battalion of the 7th Cavalry, and calls for retribution were swift. The U.S. government responded by sending more troops to the plains, and within a year, the Sioux and Cheyenne were overwhelmed. For Native Americans, the Battle of Little Bighorn symbolized a moment of triumph against overwhelming odds, a high point of resistance, but it also marked the beginning of the end for their freedom on the plains. The U.S. government would not forget the sting of defeat and soon doubled down on efforts to subdue and confine native tribes to reservations. Today, the Black Hills remain a powerful symbol of Native American resilience and identity. Though much of the land was lost, the battle for recognition and rights continues to this day. As we remember the events of Little Bighorn, let us reflect on the importance of understanding history, not just through the eyes of the victors, but through the voices of those who fought to protect their land, their culture, and their people. Thank you for joining us on this journey through one of history's most significant battles. The history of the Black Hills and Little Bighorn reminds us of the courage and resilience of the Native American people. Let's honor their fight by continuing to learn, share, and appreciate the rich tapestry of the past. If you found this video insightful, make sure to subscribe, hit the notification bell, and share this history with others. Together, we can keep these histories alive. Until next time on EyeRich History, where we bring history to life.